All right. Well, welcome everyone. We've got a fun time to talk about today and a very trending topic, preventing workplace violence and negligent retention. So everyone get comfortable, and we got a lot of stuff to talk about in here today. So hopefully this will keep you entertained and informed. And first and foremost, let's go ahead and get the program ID out there because, sometimes we get really busy and, well, I forget at the end, and you certainly want this, but the HRCI program ID for today is 734 500. 734 500. And that's good for one certification credit of HRCI General. All right. And of course, that's me. We're going to spend the next hour talking about this topic, so that's all you really need to know about me. And this topic is going to be posted online. I record all of these because I run into a lot of folks who, want other team members to see them, or their CEO, or someone like this. And today's a good one for that. So absolutely, you can go to my website and hit free resources, just sort of hover over that, and Scott's Lunch and Learns will come up. All of the Lunch and Learns that we've done in the past are posted there for you to view. And of course, the ones we're currently doing. So that one should be posted by the end of next week. And if you want to share this or review it again, bon appetit, knock yourself out. And just as another note, we just finished a legal update, and a lot of that were the changes with DEI and diversity. And even if you don't have a diversity program, these topics are in most of our organizations. Well, I put the books out on audio. The original title of this was Tolerance and Diversity for White Guys and Other Human Beings, which I thought was kind of humorous. We should all be involved. And that upset a lot of people because, well, as you know, white guys are the problem, or so I am told. So the alternative title is Living the 5 Skills of Tolerance. It's the same thing. It's the same thing, just a different title. One gets me death threats and one doesn't. All right, so there's that. And I've been getting more questions about legal update. It's done. We've already done the recordings for 2025 employment law update, the presentations, but the video is on my website under the webinars and seminars section at the very top of the homepage. So if you want to view the recording or get the recording, it's there. And in anything we talk about, if you want some help with training your employees, getting your policies updated, your contracts updated, or legal consulting for free, let me know, because we got lots of stuff to talk about. All right, well, let's get off to the races here real quick. Negligent hiring and or negligent retention. All right, now these are theories of law in all 50 states. All states have negligent retention and negligent hiring causes of action. All right. Here's the issue. Just because something happens doesn't mean that the employer is liable. So let me just give you an example. If you have an employee just out of the clear blue who goes up and smacks a coworker or smacks a client or a patient or something, you're not necessarily liable for that. You're not liable for intentional torts, that someone went up and intentionally did this to somebody. You're not necessarily liable for that. But what if you're negligent? Well, if it's coming about because of your negligence, yes, you have a problem. And let me give you the story of A. Abel Rents. A. Abel Rents, okay, famous case. And A. Abel Rents, they would rent you furniture or appliances or something like this. And you would rent to own. So it's, really good deal. You go and lease or rent a refrigerator for, $100 a month for 2 or 3 years. So you end up spending $3,000 or $4,000 for a $500 refrigerator. Okay, that's how it works. So Mrs. Stevens apparently went to A. Abel Rents, picked something out, and now A. Abel Rents is going to deliver it to her apartment or to her house. All right, so A. Abel Rents hires these two guys to go and deliver. And one of the problems, if you're a delivery person, I guess, is how bored you can get just driving around the city in between appointments. So apparently one thing that really makes your day just fly by is to smoke crack. I don't personally know much about that, but I hear it just makes the whole day fly by. All right, so it's just like not going to work at all. Well, by the time that they get to Mrs. Stevens' house or apartment, one of the guys is so stoned he can't get out. He just stays in the van. The other guy gets out, goes up to the door. Mrs. Stevens answers the door. He goes in, beats her up, and rapes her. Okay, now it got a real nasty turn real quick. Now here's the question. It's like, oh, well, of course, Mrs. Stevens is going to sue A. Abel Rents. Well, here's the trick. Intentional torts employers are not liable for unless the employer is negligent. You see, negligence is what gets you in trouble. So, okay, where was A. Abel Rents negligent? I mean, understand, Mrs. Stevens can always sue the guy who did it, but you're not going to, what you're going to get like a gun rack and a keg of beer out of this guy. So here's what you want to look for, though. What was his background like? What background did he have? Well, as of course now all this comes out in the court record, that he had a criminal record for violence. He had a drug record. All right. He had been fired from employers for really bad reasons. A. Abel Rents didn't do anything. They didn't do a background check. They didn't check into his criminal history. They didn't do any drug tests. They didn't call his employers. They didn't do anything. So guess what? That's negligence. That is negligence. That is negligent hiring. You absolutely have to try. You got to try. And I'll hear this from so many employers. Well, yeah, but nobody ever says anything. Okay, but you got to try. I mean, if A. Abel Rents had tried to run a background check and either it was inconclusive, or which it wouldn't have been, or they had information that was missing, or if they'd have tried to get references from his previous employers and maybe they weren't given anything, A. Abel Rents would not have been liable, because again, it's so far out of what you would expect. That is the world of negligent hiring. All right, now right there, did everybody get it? You got to do background checks. You got to do something. And you can give me a thumbs up if you get it. You can chat me up, or you can open your mic. So now's a good time. There we go. Everybody's getting me a good thumbs up. Excellent. Now, what about negligent retention? All right, you can hire some people, and these people are great. They're wonderful. You got a good background check on them, good everything, good references. And now you hire the person, and they're with you for 2, 3, 4, 5, 10, 15 years. All right. Can there be some things that happen with an employee 5, 10, 15 years down the road? You think there can be some things that can happen that would make you raise an eyebrow and go, whoa, I wonder if there's some stuff going on with this guy, with this gal. Okay, now, absolutely. So let's say that you have somebody who works for you, and then you get it through the rumor mill. Oh, yeah, Bob was in a bar fight last week. Betty was in a bar fight last week, or something like this is going on. All right. Do you think that you have an obligation to look into that? Oh, yeah, the rumor mill. Oh, yeah. What do you think? Do you have an obligation to look into Bob and Betty for violence? Oh, I promise you, you do. Okay, so we have talked in the last couple months about preventing lawsuits. Every single handbook, every single drug substance abuse policy absolutely needs to include that your employees are going to let you know within 24 hours, the next business day or something like this, that they have been arrested for something, right? I mean, it could be any one of a number of different things. Domestic violence, vehicular homicide. Now, here's the rub. I'll often get pushback from employers. Well, they haven't been convicted yet. I know, but something happened and you want to know about it. You want to know about it. Now, just because they haven't been convicted yet doesn't mean that you don't have liability. So let's say I talked to Bob, and Bob was in a bar fight, and I asked Bob, I said, hey, I'm glad you let me know within 24 hours of your arrest. What happened? And if he tells me something and whatever that, I was just sitting there and this guy mistook me for somebody else and he came up and hit me. Okay, that's great. You find out what's going on. And of course, there's going to be a police report and everything like this. You find out what's happening. Or let's say Bob says, well, this guy, I was out there and he, really, ticked me off and he was looking at me mean. And so I went up and hit him. Okay. Here's what you want to discover. Is it at all foreseeable by the reasonable person in the community that this person is violent? That this person could do some harm? Would the reasonable person think that? Well, if I've got two different stories from him, you got a decision to make. And I got a comment here, you can put somebody on leave. Yeah, you can put somebody on leave just until you get stuff sorted out a little bit. But people can get arrested and they didn't do anything wrong. People can be arrested and the law just sorts it out. And by the time you get to court, by the time you get to your trial, it'll be months down the road. So, you're paid to make decisions and assess risk. And that's what you need to do. So you kind of see, that's the world of negligent hiring and negligent retention. You got to make sure that you are doing background checks on your people. Oh, and by the way, I'm seeing a lot of mistakes here with background checks. How many people here do some sort of background check? You pay some service to get a background check on your people. Yeah, I'm getting some we-dos in here. Lots of thumbs up. Absolutely. Okay. The background agency almost always gives you the permission to release information, things like this. Are you also, in addition to that, using the Fair Credit Reporting Act form? Okay, that is not the same form that you would use that you got usually from the background check company. All right, this There's only a couple things that can be on this form. First of all, it has to be in 12-point type. The margins have to be 1 inch. All right. And permission to release information, and that they are giving you the authorization to do that. And once they sign it, it's good forever. Okay. I just got a check here, question here. Should we run a background check after 5 years from date of hire? Not necessarily, because if you want to do this for maybe safety sensitive positions or something like that, maybe. But you see, if something's going on in somebody's lives, that grapevine throughout your organization is extremely accurate. It's very accurate, and it's faster than just about any email you can put out. All right. So I got another one here. I do a soft open source check and use third party for backgrounds, but their backgrounds are very limited, and some questionable people with bad backgrounds are getting hired. We will have to talk, because I don't know what a soft open source check is. There's really only 2 ways to do it. One is you go out and you look on your own through public records. But if you're using a third party background check, I don't know, if you're paying them, you're under the Fair Credit Reporting Act form. You're under the Fair Credit Reporting Act. Not getting, I'll tell you, this is amazing. I've got so many potholes in it's under this program that I'm setting up HR departments for so many folks. I've seen so many potholes and so many things that are just missing from hiring processes and retention policies and things like this. You've got to make sure that you've got these things in place. All right. So Fair Credit Reporting Act applies to all 50 states. Doesn't matter what state you're in. And if you don't have a form that says Fair Credit Reporting Act on it, and 1 inch margins, 12-point type, and the only thing that is on there is authorization to release information and permission, authorization and release of liability, you're in violation. And that's $1,000 per candidate. So there's all kinds of things like that in human resources. But this negligent hiring and negligent retention is really getting a lot of attention. Okay. All right. Now, having said that, let's apply this over here to all of your issues.
Hey, Scott, I got a question.
Yes.
Is that in your HYI do-it-yourself kit that you have online? You sell?
Oh, yeah.
That
negligent
form.
hiring, negligent retention is in the, part of the Master HR Toolkit has the Federal Employment Law book. And yeah, there's a special section on negligent hiring and I believe negligent retention.
Is there the form that you just mentioned in the kit?
Yeah, there's a section in there on Fair Credit Reporting Act form. Yeah, most definitely. There's actually in the Master HR Toolkit, there's all these HR forms. And one of them is the Fair Credit Reporting Act form. And it's really a 2-sided form. One is for one type of background check. It's just a paper background check. And if you're going to pay somebody to check references, we call that an investigative background check. And so those are 2 different forms. So I just have them copied off front to back. And that should be part of your standard packet. Electronic signatures will work just fine.
Thanks.
Yep. Good question, Tom. Okay. The whole idea is to create a safe environment. Is it safe to disagree with your boss? Is it safe to go to work? Is it safe? If it is not safe, you're going to have all kinds of legal issues. You're going to have workplace violence. You're going to have probably union and morale issues. You are never going to have legal problems or workplace violence problems or union problems or morale problems. You have trust issues. All these other things are symptoms of a toxic work environment. That's what we're dealing with. All right, so we're going to focus on workplace violence here today. So let's look at this. Now, first and foremost, in your handbooks, you absolutely positively have to have a good workplace violence and or bullying policy. Now, I get this right from OSHA and from the United States Supreme Court regarding harassment issues. Okay, what is the definition of workplace violence or bullying? Any actual or threatened physical, verbal, or nonverbal abuse that can create an internal atmosphere where management believes, we make it subjective, the reasonable person in the community would feel intimidated or threatened. Okay, let me read that again because this is a catch-all. Any actual or threatened physical, verbal, or nonverbal abuse that can create an internal atmosphere where management believes the reasonable person in the community would feel intimidated or threatened. Okay, now, why do we want this broad definition? Because we want to be able to identify something as bullying or workplace violence to pull them aside, to talk, to say, hey, this is a bit odd there, Bob. What's happening? This is different. Okay, so we've got to do something about this because it's not a safe environment. If you are screaming and yelling at somebody, throwing trash cans, throwing whatever, okay? So let's just use this as an example. Has anyone ever had someone who is so angry at work that they are just screaming and yelling at the people around them? There you go. That's workplace violence. That's workplace violence. Now, we don't fire somebody for that. We bring them in. We say, what's going on? We want to talk to them. I want to be able to determine, is it safe for them to go back into the workforce? All right. Now, how many people in here, you've got some folks or you've ever worked with people that they do that stuff all the time. It's their first reaction is to go into screaming and yelling or maybe kicking trash cans. Yeah, in our court, violence can be weekly. Yeah. So right here. Now, first of all, yeah, I got OSHA basically telling me this is a precursor. See, it takes a little bit of time for somebody to go from calm to upset to angry to really mad to enraged. That's a normal person. That takes a while. It takes a split second to go from enraged to smacking you with a stapler. All right. You got some good comments here. You might want to look in the chat. We've got in our court, violence can be weekly. We intimidate people. Some have had a habit of it, and we do say something, raising their voice when it's not needed. Yeah. I'll tell you right now, if you have somebody who is engaging this behavior, and I've got supervisors, it's amazing, who will throw things at employees. And they'll say, oh, that's just Ed. No, you are screaming and yelling, you're punching walls. And then one day, and I'll tell you, one day, let's say you have a supervisor who goes up to an employee and they're so mad at him that they grab him and just shake him like a rag doll. Well, that's assault and battery. That's assault and battery. That, and I'll tell you, do you consider workplace bullying a form of workplace violence? Absolutely. There is no doubt about it. Absolutely. Depending on what the situation is. But, oh yeah, I mean, give you a perfect example. I've got somebody who is screaming and yelling at a coworker, and out comes a racial slur. There's no doubt about it whatsoever now. You got yourself a racial harassment claim and you've got workplace violence. Because here's the thing. If later on you do what this supervisor did to an employee and you shake them, just shake them, they're so upset with them and they're so angry. All right. If your boss came up to you and shook you and rattled your head, rattled your whole body, would that be traumatic? That's assault. Yep, got yourself assault and battery. Absolutely. Well, let me tell you how this spins out. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm getting these surprise emojis here, which are great. Let me tell you how that is a workers' comp claim. That's a workers' comp claim. Absolutely. Got injuries to my arms. I've got bruising. I've got this or whatever. I've got this terrible headache because you just rattled my brain. Do you know that in certain states, like Ohio, where there is a physical injury and then there's psychological trauma, I don't know, like depression, anxiety, PTSD, I got news for you, that's covered. And my advice to the client was, oh, yeah, you better get your checkbook out. And we got a couple things to talk about here. One is, oh, yeah, this person, you take your victim as you find them. Okay. And, this has exasperated my PTSD. This has exasperated my depression. Okay. You're looking at this person being off for probably not physical injury very long, but psychological injury for months. For months. Two things get the CEO on the phone with me every time. One is a union drive. That gets their attention. What else gets their attention? A bad workers' comp claim. Oh my God. All right. So, yeah, you got that coming. And the other question is, has this supervisor ever done this or anything that violates this policy? They ever done anything like that before? Because if I was a plaintiff's attorney, I would take this case and I would sue you. And I would win. The law's very clear here. Well, yeah, but that's just it. That's just how it, well, if you put that in front of a jury, what's a jury going to think about? Well, that's just Ed. Sounds to me like you are enabling Ed and you're protecting your own, just like Penn State protected Jerry Sandusky. That did not work out well. Okay. Does anybody have an idea why they're not dealing with Ed? Let me tell you right now, Ed is a jackass moron. I'll tell you right now, and those are the nicest things that I can say about Ed. Anybody have any idea as to why they wouldn't deal with Ed? Anybody have any ideas? Ed is maybe less replaceable. Oh yeah, Ed is so valuable. Well, you better hope he's valuable because he's $150,000 in a lost lawsuit for you. Here's a $50,000, $60,000, $80,000 in workers' comp. Yeah, they're scared of him. They're scared of him. If you can't address and resolve conflict, you can't be in management. Okay. Oh, here's a good one. He might be afraid he'd sue the company. I'll tell you, you're managing risk. It's going to be an employee one day who's going to sue you because he's going to snap and he's going to do something. Okay. And it's going to be assault and battery. Pick your lawsuit. I'll take the lawsuit again from Ed any day. Okay. But I'll tell you, we absolutely positively have to start dealing with Ed. And the other thing, man, I'd be drug testing Ed. Absolutely. I would be drug tested because this is not normal behavior. And Mike is telling us I had an employee that said I was screwing him by sending him for reasonable suspicion drug test. He followed it with saying, it's okay, I have skills and know how to deal with them. Yeah, there's a lot of ways to work around urine tests. But Mike, this is a great one. We just talked about this last month, I believe, and in Legal Update. Oh, no. Ed, we're not giving you a urine test. You're going for a saliva test. Because I'm going to see if it's active use in your body right now. And that's how you want your policy written. All right. Now, where do you draw the line on offenses the employee must report in the way of arrest? If you're arrested, you report it. If you're arrested and they take you into custody, you got to let me know. And that's an immediately terminable offense. If you are arrested and they take you to jail, you better be letting me know within 24 hours. Okay? Or as soon as you get out. They don't arrest you for a traffic stop. But vehicular homicide, yeah. Okay? Domestic violence, yeah. Bar fights, yeah. Absolutely. I want to know. Because I need to know what's going on. All right. Well, having said that, Let's look at Walmart. All right, this is Andre Bing, and you might remember this from 5, 6, 7 years ago. Just before Thanksgiving, Andre Bing went into the Walmart where he worked. He was a supervisor, shot and killed these 5 people. Now, right away, that sounds, oh my God, that is so out of the clear blue. This is so bizarre. It's not out of the clear blue at all. All right, so what are some of the weird things that Andre Bing was doing? Well, first of all, he put tape on his phone, on the camera. He used to tell everyone that the government was watching him. And a former coworker said, he's just weird. Okay, just freeze right there. You're getting your coworkers, you're getting your employees saying, oh, he's really weird. He's really weird. And one person said if Andre told her if they were to ever fire him, he'd come back and kill people. Well, that kind of cinches it. And another employee said Bing was condescending when he spoke to us. He didn't have good communication skills. He was quite mean to a lot of us. Now, take any one of these individually or put them together. Shouldn't someone somewhere be talking to Mr. Bing? Absolutely. This is not a safe environment. I can't disagree with and I love this. Well, they were afraid of him. Yeah. That should be a hint to you. All the more reason to talk to Mr. Bing. All right. So, here we got one. Where to start that conversation? Ask about his comments. You use your EPR skills. And I've been drilling these EPR skills for years. Empathic listening, parroting, and rewards. I mean, I tell you right now, if your supervisors and managers don't know how to address and resolve conflict, game over. Game over. You're food. You're just waiting to be lunch for some plaintiff's attorney. And it will happen these days. Right now, employment law, this is the big game. This is the hottest ticket in town. No one else, no other area of the law is as hot or as busy as employment law. If you filed something with the EEOC, it would be 5, 6, 7, 8 months before they even got in touch with you. And that's the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission. They're 50, 60,000 cases behind. So, somebody should have sat down. Empathic listening, parroting, and rewards. And what's that mean? I'd have sat down with Mr. Bing and I'd have said, gee whiz, Andre, we gotten some of these reports back. Tell me, what's happening? And that's all I got to do. I just open the door. And I hear managers, I don't know what to say. Quite frankly, you don't have to say nothing. Not a thing. What do? You sit down and you say, hey, tell me what's going on. You're putting tape on your phone because the government's watching you and you said something about you're going to kill people. Hey, buddy, what's happening? And you slow down. You talk to the guy. And I would parrot it back and say, oh, I see what you're saying. You're telling me this and this and this. Then I'd give him a reward. I see where you're coming. I understand what you're telling me. I'm not saying I agree with him, but I understand where you're coming from. All right. But I tell you, I'm awfully concerned about you. We're going to pay to send you to have somebody talk to you. You're going to get assessed. Let me tell you right now, this guy is not coming back to work until we get something from a psychologist that tells us, and write this down, he is no more dangerous than the average person in the general population. He is no more dangerous than the average person in the general population, and that's from the Americans with Disabilities Act. Well, I don't need to see anybody. No, I think you do, buddy. We'll pay for it. Want to get you some help here. I'm concerned for you. All right? And if he refuses, then I'm like, well, honestly, Andre, we can't have you come back to work until you get this taken care of. All right? And it's always wonderful. I always hear, well, that'll really tick him off, and now he will come back with a gun. He's already ticked off. Okay? And now you're letting him in the building every stinking day. No, no, no. This is risk management. And honestly, if your supervisors don't know how to use EPR skills, empathic listening, parroting, and rewards, teach them. It's the easiest formula I've ever seen in my life for addressing and resolving conflict. Now, forget the bodies piled everywhere, which is pretty horrific. Walmart settled this for more than $100 million in lawsuits. Why? Because they allowed it to happen. They are enablers. You do not want to be an enabler. Okay, and I'll tell you right now, suicides. I got some right now going on where people are talking about suicide. Guess what? We're going to get you some help. Want you to go and want you to be assessed. I don't know if someone has a mental disability. Actually, a lot of people commit suicide, not because they've got a mental impairment, but they've completely lost hope. Sometimes it's perspective, and that is right from the CDC. So it's just amazing to me. Well, we should go and get a mental evaluation. You go and you get a total evaluation. Okay? Being an armchair quarterback, Monday morning quarterback, isn't what we're doing here. We're going to a trained professional who's looking to see what's going on with this troubled person. Well, there are more than 2.5 homicides or suicides in American workplaces every day. Every workday. And I was here, well, what are the chances that someone's going to do this? Well, the chances aren't good, but you're looking at it wrong. It's the consequence of error. It's not a question of whether, what are the chances this might happen? Well, I can tell you right now, it happens a hell of a lot. Oh, and of course, what if they just wound you? There are over 2 million assaults that occur in American workplaces every year. That's 38,000 physical assaults every week. That is actually very common. Now, you see why I want to be pulling people aside and talking about them when they're losing their temper, when they're screaming and yelling, because I'll tell you, it takes a while to go from calm to mad to enraged. It takes a while. It takes a worm sneeze to go from enraged to smacking you with a stapler. And now you got a host of trouble. Everybody with me? All right, now, why do we snap? I always love this. Anger management. When you're angry with someone, it helps to sit down and think about the problem. Oh, yeah, wise words. Wise words. Little passive aggressive there, but you get the idea. Okay. Now, why do we snap? All right. Let's look at some of the more puppies. Yes, Jim. Yeah, if I can get a little levity in here to lighten these topics, I try to. Ann's asking us, related to suicide, is there a recommendation return to work protocol similar to angry employee? They're no more dangerous than the general person in the population or for mention of suicide. You just recommend a referral to the EAP. Sometimes the EAP will do just fine, but when someone's talking about suicide, Ann, yeah, it's the same thing. Are they any more dangerous to themselves or anybody else than someone in the general population? Chances are good when we're talking that kind of stuff, suicide, homicidal thoughts, and you understand that suicide and homicide are just two sides of the same coin. Okay? Suicide is anger turned inward. Homicide is anger turned outward. Potato, potato. And you got it right there. Are they any more dangerous to themselves or anybody else than the average person in the general population? That's exactly what I want to hear from the psychologist. And I want a psychologist. Yeah, and you send them to that, you're paying for it. Small price to pay. Do you need a release from the doctor? I always, in my HIPAA, in my packets that I give to people, you always have a HIPAA release form ready to go. Always. Always. Now, typically, if you refer them, you don't need a HIPAA release, but some psychologists will require that. Sometimes they'll have their own, but I always like to have my own right there ready to go. Ready to go. I mean, that should be in your toolkit. You're an HR professional. You should have this stuff. Okay. Now, let's look and see why people snap. All right. This is some guy we found off the street, and we're just looking at his brain. And that's his limbic system there, emotional and his fight or flight. You see the two ends of the engines there? Those red balls? Those are your amygdalas. That's your fight or flight response. All right. That's what's calling the show. So you see, there's your amygdalas. They're extremely fast, 2 or 3 times faster than your frontal lobes. And your frontal lobes, that's what you use to think. That's your logical brain. And your frontal lobes are slow, but they're not accurate. The amygdalas are fast, but they're not accurate. So someone gets upset at work and they go into a rage. Well, they're releasing all this cortisol and adrenaline from their limbic system. God, my mind isn't working. Their adrenal glands, those 2 little dunce caps that are sitting on their kidneys. You see them right there? So you're flooding your body with massive amounts of adrenaline and cortisol. 20% is going to go to your brain. That's going to fire up your brain. Oh my gosh, like a race car. Okay, you see how fast that signal comes in? Goes right to your amygdalas, your fight or flight. That happens in 17 thousandths of a second. When you feel like you are in danger, can anybody count to 17 thousandths of a second? Oh, off you go to the races. Okay, here we got the guy in the yellow t-shirt here. Can they tell me what his job is? What is he supposed to be doing? Well, it looks to me like he is supposed to be keeping the peace. Yep, survive. Yeah, at this point, he's surviving. Keep the peace. But look what he's doing. He's trying to kill Mr. Spiky Head. And Mr. Spiky Head is trying to kill him right back. And who wants to bet me that I'm quite sure Mr. Spiky Head said something to him? Or probably yelled something to him, and I'm sure added something about his mother. Okie dokie. There we go. Off to the races. So Mr. Peacekeeper is trying to kill him. Look how long it took that impulse to get to the Peacekeeper's frontal lobes. 2 or 3 times shorter. 2 or 3 times shorter. Okay, let me show you how fast you are. Let me show you how fast you are. I'm going to give you a word to say, and the word is white. So we're all going to say the word together. This is group participation, so you participate in your car or your office. So get your vocal cords ready. We're all going to say the word white together 10 times. Then I'm going to ask you a question, see how long it takes you to react. Okay, see how long it takes you to answer. Okay, everybody all together. The word is white. Ready? White, 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 white. What do cows drink?
White.
How many people think cows drink water? They don't drink milk. Yeah. I always love this exercise, particularly when we're all together. It is just so much fun because I get to play with your head. That's what we do. That is how the human brain works. Now you kind of see, we react first, then we think. What's the answer? Slow down and think. You see why when someone is just starting to rage, I want to shut it down. I want to bring them in and talk to them. And I'll tell you, people do sometimes go from 0 to 60 with their temper because something's really a soft spot with them. Something's a real contentious issue. Does anybody know folks who go from 0 to 60 with their temper all the time? It's all the time. That's what we do all the time. Okay, that is a mental impairment, I promise you. I would have someone like that brain scanned. That is a mental impairment, and you are licking the outlet. I promise you, it's going to get you. You're going to be sorry. That person is going to do something one day and you're going to pay the price. No, get that person some help. And again, how do you do that? You sit down with your EPR skills, empathic listening, parroting, and rewards. You got to train them to do this. Now, what is greatly increasing the violence in our workplaces across the country? Drugs. Okay. It is just amazing what it's doing. Now, these are 2 nuclear brain scans, blood flow. So we're looking at nice, healthy blood flow. The one on your left is looking down on the top of your brain and seeing how nice and full it is. There's no holes. Nice, good blood flow. Don't worry about the colors. That's just filling everything in. Okay. Oh, I got a good one here. Do you mean illegal or prescription as well? I mean both. Some of the biggest drug pushers in this country are still doctors, who will oftentimes prescribe things like Vicodin to one member of the family and maybe a couple more. So your drug testing policy absolutely positively has to include prescription drugs. Absolutely. Because once you take it in your body, you don't know. Your body doesn't know whether you got it from CVS or the corner of 5th and Main. All right. And I'll tell you, there's some people who are illegally taking their Vicodin that they can't be doing a certain job for you. Right? I mean, I got guys that crawl up on water towers. Well, that's 200 feet in the air. Well, he's got a prescription. He's also going to splatter like a watermelon, and if he falls, Vicodin is going to make you woozy. And if you're 200 feet in the air, I don't want you woozy. You got something else for him to do? Okay. Well, his doctor says he can do it. Then you get that written from the doctor, and that doctor will have his license probably gone 2 days after this guy falls. But no, I'm still not going to let him get up there. You got to be kidding me. Who's going to clean that up? Oh, good Lord. Okay, and the other one over here on your right, we're looking up through the bottom of your chin. Nice, good blood flow. Now, remember your frontal lobes and how important those are? Your emotional system is 2 to 3 times faster. See the frontal lobes up there? Is this somebody smoking marijuana? 38 years old, this guy? It's just a joint. Oh, no. There's a big difference between taking the gummy bears and smoking a joint. I will tell you right now, okay? You've got to make sure that you got healthy brains. So it's like, oh, it's just pot. Yeah. Look at the holes. You're not getting any blood flow at the top of the scan in their frontal lobes. What kind of decisions do you think they make? Yo, the most dangerous thing you can do during the day is drive a car. You absolutely, positively have to make sure that your people aren't using drugs. And I mean, I love the saliva test. This came up here a few seconds ago. Saliva tests will give you active use. It's not going to tell me if you smoked pot over the weekend. It's going to tell me if you're using it right now. Active use. And I haven't met too many employers who really care. I met a lot of employers who don't care what you do on your own time, which is kind of silly because this is what they do on their own time. And I think you should be able to bring your full brain to work. But I don't want active use at work. And that's what this is, active use. And look over here, mostly just on the weekend. Okay, now you kind of see why this is increasing workplace violence. And the statistics are overwhelming. The correlation and fatalities between drug use and workers' comp claims in general, fatalities, and workplace violence. Okay, there's alcohol. Now, these aren't people who are drunk at work. Here's somebody who I just drink a couple, 3 beers every day. Great. Do you have any idea what you're doing to your frontal lobes? 44? Okay. Come back to me when you're 64 and you're drooling on yourself. This is what's in the future for you, pal. Oh, by the way, when I train people and I show them these things, and I've got these in my videos, you know it's designed to scare the ever-living hell out of them. Anyone know a provider in Richland County that does saliva testing? We're told by Ohio Health and Avita that they do not. Okay, you might want to contact. I've had great success dealing with Quest. So they've been very easy to deal with. I found LabCorp to be impossible to deal with. I mean, literally impossible. But Quest has been right there. And you can have these kits right there on site and then go for the confirmation test. Oh yeah. You see, this is what we're talking about. Getting everything up and going ahead of time. Heroin. Methadone. Oh, I'll tell you right now. The fentanyl, heroin, methadone abuse throughout this country is some of the highest it's been in years. And why is that? Because it's cheap. It's cheap. It's a deal. You could actually get heroin a lot cheaper than you could get Oxycontin. And look what that does to your brain. Methamphetamine. Oh my gosh. And there's just something about taking care of your brain. 3 packs of cigarettes and 3 pots of coffee every day. Okay, you get the idea. You got to make sure your people know this is what workplace violence is. We are going to be addressing it. All right. This is our substance use program. And I've heard this from some, oh, yes, workplace violence. We've done our active shooter training. Okay. There is absolutely nothing wrong with Alice training. Nothing wrong with that. Active shooter training. Nothing wrong. I think you should do something before the gunman is in your workplace. I don't know, just me. I think you better do something, reactive, not preventative. I think you should do something before the bullets start flying. Now, there's nothing wrong with Alice training and things like this, but have you also done workplace violence training to show them what it is and what we're going to be talking to you about? And if you're suicidal, we're going to help you. We are going to send you to go get help. And that's what we're here for. All right. And we're not going to have threats in the workplace. You don't bring weapons into the workplace. You can leave them in your car, but you can't in states like Ohio, but you cannot bring them in the workplace. And here's what we're going to do for substance use. Okay. So yeah, I have been working with a lot of clients. And again, if you want any help with any of this stuff, give me a call, because this is exactly what I am putting into place for free. All this stuff is covered. And I think the state of Ohio is doing a wonderful job there, helping us making safe work environments. All right. And so public sector, private sector, nonprofits, you all have in Ohio, you have this reimbursement program waiting for you. Get in touch with me. Some of you we're already working together on this stuff to make safe work environments. Okay. Questions, comments? I know I missed some of these in the thread because we got a lot of really great chat, but I wasn't able to get back to everything. So any questions, comments on anything that we talked about at all? Does it all make sense? You just look here. Oh, here we go. I got a good question here from Addie. I've got a question on brain scans and the ADA. In my industry, MMA equipment, brain damage is common. At what point does investigation breach ADA? Well, it doesn't breach ADA when you sit down with somebody and you talk to them about their behavior. Okay. And as I sit down and I coach people and we talk about their conduct, they'll volunteer things for me because I use my EPR skills, empathic listening, parroting, and rewards. And I will bring things up and they'll share with me, well, I've had this problem for years. I've had this. Well, when I hear somebody's been struggling with brain issues, there's really no such thing as a mental issue. It's really a brain issue. if I have someone who's struggled with brain issues for years and they've never gotten your meds right and they haven't really been able to help you, and now you're talking to me because you're in trouble at work, I suggest a brain scan. And I've sent about 50 people in the last 20 years to go get brain scans. And every single one of them came back hot. And I will tell you, immensely accurate, great way to jumpstart your brain health. But most people don't need a brain scan. Most people need help in the right direction. And they need to know how to address and deal with their stress. So we deal with things from that perspective. All right. So no, you have a duty in your workplace when you see strange behavior, particularly violent behavior, you have a duty to act. And if you do not act and look into it, you could be looking at a negligent retention suit and likely lose. All right. Great question, Addie. Anybody else? Any concerns? Comments? Okay. All right. Well, I'm going to be sending out a notice as to we're going to be doing in March. We'll probably be doing the 3 pillars of de-stressing your body, which is exactly the kind of stuff we're talking about here. Investigations, doing a legal and effective investigation. Any other suggestions for people that you would want to see in the training this year? Let me know. And I will talk to you all later. Hey, y'all take care. Bye-bye.